Hello, Clemson Nation. This is Patrick Driscoll, and welcome to this week's edition of On the Prowl, the show where I keep you updated on all Clemson sports. A lot went down last week for our Tigers, so let's get started with cross country since their season just wrapped up. Back in Sawyer State Park in Louisville, Kentucky, both the men and women were able to compete at the NCAA Southeast Regional this past Friday. Starting with the men, once again, it was newcomer Victor Indua who led the way for the Tigers. One key note is that Regionals is the first 10,000 meter race for the men, which translates to roughly 6.2 miles of racing. Indua's time of 31 minutes and 12 seconds earned him the 69th best spot out of 217 competitors. Junior teammate Jack McManus was next up, earning the 101st spot, while sophomore Sawyer Dagan finished 116th respectively. Now to the women. For the third consecutive meet, it was senior Bryn Sumner who paced the Tigers with a 6,000 meter time of 21 minutes and 45 seconds, which earned her the 74th spot out of 225 finishers. The freshman duo of Maddie Deneen and Madison Roche trailed her, as Deneen earned the 107th spot, while Roche finished in 118th overall. Both the men and women have a lot to be proud of this year, as both teams most certainly stepped in the right direction under head coach Vicky Pounds. Congratulations on a great season, XC, and see you inside, on the track, live from Jervey Meadows in a few short weeks. First of all, before I get into men's soccer, let's give these guys a hand, as they overcame all of the odds by making the ACC championship after a tough midseason stretch and then coming into the ACC tournament as an 8th seed. Another huge achievement for Clemson is that this is their third appearance in the ACC final in the past 4 years. Unfortunately, Clemson United was not able to complete the dream run to claim the ACC title against Syracuse after a 2-0 defeat in Cary, North Carolina. Regardless, they still have a lot to be proud of, and these guys are not done yet. Monday afternoon, the men found out that they earned the number 6 seed for the national tournament bracket, earning a first-round bye as well. The men will surely be taking advantage of the extra rest as they look to take the winner of UCLA and California Baptist Sunday the 20th. What's also interesting is that this will be a home game as well, so let's pack rigs Sunday afternoon. As the men were wrapping up their conference bracket this past week, the women were just beginning to start their national championship run this past Friday afternoon at Riggs. Taking on a tough Vanderbilt squad, unfortunately, the women fell 1-0 to the Commodores to end their campaign. Despite outshooting Vanderbilt, it was a game full of close calls that just couldn't go Clemson's way. While it was a bittersweet ending for the Tigers, they still had a phenomenal season. So let's take you through some key highlights. Firstly, this was their 9th season in a row of recording 8 wins. The women had many huge wins as well, and we cannot forget about the time when they knocked off the number 6 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at home. For the polls, Clemson got ranked all the way up to number 14 in the country as well. While it was a premature end, these athletes have no reason to be disappointed about this season. Congratulations to all the seniors, and I'll see you guys in the spring. While the Hoop squad lost a heartbreaker in Columbia against South Carolina last week, the Tigers were back in action at Littlejohn versus USC Upstate this past Tuesday. They broke the standard tradition and wore orange at home, which is a good change of pace. As for the game, the Clemson offense started out hot. They shot 54% in the first half of the ballgame to give themselves a comfortable lead at the half. If you thought 54% was solid, the Tigers kept the pressure going, shooting 58% in the second half. Defensively, they kept USC Upstate in check, only allowing them the 41% shooting. These guys were not playing around, as they never trailed in the contest. Not once. Chase Hunter led the Tigers in scoring with 20 points, while senior Alex Hemingway scored a career-high 18 points along with 4 3-pointers made. The Tigers have their eyes set now on the Bellarmine Knights, as they will be back at Littlejohn for a Friday night matchup. Moving on to women's hoops, the Tigers are off to a great start for the new campaign this year. They are now 3-0 for the first time since 2020 after defeating Richmond this past Sunday afternoon in Littlejohn. While the Spiders had an early lead after the first quarter, the women ramped up the pressure and never looked back the rest of the game. While only scoring 7 points in the first quarter, they basically tripled that number in the second, giving them a 29-22 lead at the break. Clemson kept that pressure up the rest of the game to give them a comfortable 61-41 victory. The duo of Amari Robinson and Elijah Douglas was big time for the women, as they combined for more than half of the team's total points. We cannot forget about the bench stepping up as well for Clemson, as they had 28 points altogether. Clemson has a huge matchup versus the #1 team in the country, and it so happens to be our in-state rival, South Carolina. It is a home matchup, so let's get Littlejohn rocking for your Tigers Thursday night. Volleyball was finally back in Jervy Gym last weekend, so let's find out how they did. While not able to get their revenge against Miami, the Tigers got back into the win column with a 4-set victory against NC State this past Sunday, marking their first win against the Wolfpack since 2018. It was a back-and-forth battle in the first set, then a dominant Clemson second set to give the Tigers an early 2-0 lead. While NC State took the third set comfortably, they could not stop the Clemson attack at the end of the day, as Clemson took home the fourth set to record the victory. Junior Kate Long stepped up big time on both sides of the ball with 13 kills and 14 digs. Sophomore Devin Taylor chipped in with 13 digs of her own. Also, shout out to 2 Tigers reaching new milestones, as junior Cameron Hanna recorded her 1,000th career kill this past weekend. Senior McKenna Slavic also jumped up from 7th to 5th ranked on career assists for Clemson. Believe it or not, Clemson only has one more regular season match of the year, and it is their senior day versus Georgia Tech. Senior day is slated to start at 4 o'clock on Friday. Be there. Lastly, let's end off the episode with your Clemson Tiger football team. After taking leaps and bounds last week, literally, against Louisville with a dominant win, Clemson looks forward to keep the momentum going against the Miami Hurricanes. While there are still 2 more home games, this is designated as Clemson's senior day at Memorial Stadium. Even though Dabo and company are locked in for the ACC final next month, this game is still crucial as it keeps our playoff hopes alive with a win. We are ranked number 9 in the latest college football playoff, and with a win this weekend, it would continue to increase our 38-game winning streak at home. Kickoff is set for 3:30 Saturday afternoon at Memorial Stadium. That covers this week's edition of On the Prowl. Once again, my name is Patrick Driscoll, and thank you for tuning in with me. See you next week.